Windows 2025 also has remote desktop services, just like the previous Windows. Now, I'm going to be taking you through the step-by-step process of how a remote desktop server looks like when using Windows 2025. I will take you through what a network looks like through a Windows server first. You keep in mind that you don't have to have a separate server for a different role. You can actually do all this on a single server if you would like. I am going to take you through different server roles that you can actually use during this process. Even when if you're using Windows 10 or using Windows 11, please, you can still use the same procedure, and it can still connect effectively and well. But all the different servers will have to have their own particular role that needs to apply. Sometimes external PCs can be able to connect through your system from the external side. However, some of these gadgets sometimes use VPN to be able to penetrate through the system to be able to access your system. And all that happens through the network switch. Remember to use your remote desktop protocol client to be able to run your remote desktop services. Let's start with having the gateway server role first. After you have initiated that, it goes say to the image servers that we need the services that we'll be demonstrating in this conversation. You make sure that your remote desktop server is completely licensed so that it gives you the other premium options to be able to edit your server as well. We will have a client server, we'll have a broker server, and then we'll have the main database server. So we can go ahead and go through the installation. You can check out through the server. This is a step-by-step. Remember, this is a step-by-step installation of the servers. Inside server managers, I'm going to add roles and features. You click next. So you only have one server that we are setting out for this demonstration, and we'll be able to put all the roles that it needs to, connecting all the ports that it needs to be connected to into the server pool. The remote desktop server has the ability to help when the client initiates a role to be able to select the roles, the one with the least responsibility is the one that the remote desktop server actually is able to connect immediately. So we will have to go into the web access options. We have to choose to install web access roles and services. That cannot happen if you choose the quick start options, especially when you're trying to demonstrate on how those roles will be specifically assigned. Now that we have set, we have to click on the restart automatically of our servers at that point. Remember, all this is in a production server. Production servers require a lot of resources, a lot of accessories, a lot of support systems. So remember, this is a production server that we're working on right now. You see, at that place is showing that the server is blocked. So you must make sure to be able to allow the server roles and features are actually activated. Otherwise, it could end up being blocked. You need to use PowerShell or terminal admin to be able to add those particular commands that are necessary and needed. Remember, this is a new the self-signed certificate. You need to go ahead and put that and add a password. Put that through. Why we do this is because we want the certificate to be exportable using a private key so that you have that system available online. Make sure you use the right commands, so otherwise the commands won't be exported. So you can actually see that we have actually set up that, and the codes are there available. We have the remote desktop PFX certificates right there, you can see. Now we're actually going into the remote desktop services that we're going into. So that is the gateway. So sometimes you don't need to actually use that if you probably don't need it. But if you need it, you can actually use it. But sometimes we prefer having that off or set off. And behold, you don't need to install that one, because then you're going to be using the main server for remote access desktop. So there's no need actually to use those services if you're going to be at a long distance or accessing the system remotely. Go ahead and click next on that. Go to the next one. By default, the additional license cover is supposed to be working for 180 days before it expires. But after 180 days, it will expire and you will not be able to access the services unless you be able to put in the licensed key codes. And remember, we will also need the session host. We have web access. We have session hosts, which you will need to host the sessions for certain time and on and off. Let's see if we can host this on our website as well. When using web access, you can actually limit the number of users from the server point of it. So that makes it a bit easier to be able to address some of those things. You can see the licensing manager there. You can see it's not activated. So you want to activate, you can actually click activate, and then it will ask you. Everything anyway can as well work without the licenses, but as long as you're within the time period of 180 days. We'll go to the search bar and go to type on the search bar the remote desktop server so that we can activate the remote desktop service settings. It has to be enabled. Make sure the blue button is actually scrolled through and it is enabled. You can actually add non-administrative users, a group or a private person. You can add them to the remote desktop access system. The name and the IP address we have put in. You must be able to log in. It will ask you for the name and the IP address, and when you click, then it will ask you for the password. Once you put in, it will actually engage. This is the session. Remember, this is the session mode. Now we need to set up the desktop services. Click there, create a session service session. This will be collection 1. We go ahead and launch the public remote app system. You can see all the applications that are already installed on the server. If you don't see any, you can actually add, or you can go ahead and add and install. Let's choose the calculator for this case. Notepad. These ones are already services that are already pre-installed, so we can choose them and see if we can install and publish it. We need to complete the setup of the web server. We need to go back to the overview and under tasks, and then choose to edit the properties. It will allow you to edit all the roles and many different roles. But now, in this case, the one we are interested in is the web services role. Remember, under licensing, we have not access to, but we already added the license in this case, and you can add. So in this case, we go for device licensing. Click apply to particular change that you can see once we purchase the license. Web access. It's already running. Nothing needs to be tampered with there. Now we need to go into the certificate, the self-signed certificate. We can actually upload that through this process that you have seen me do. You allow the certificate to be added to the certificate authorities and click OK. Now it has been applied successfully, and certificates. We do choose the same option for all the other certificates. We don't have the fourth one because we did not install the gateway option. What we'll go ahead and do is open up a web browser, so that in that case you're able to put in the HTTPS with the IP address, or you can use the name of the server and try to see, and then followed by a /RDF. It's going to be private, but you need to click on the advanced section to allow you go to exactly and go straight, and now you'll have access to that web page there. You need to sign in. Remember the password that you put in at the beginning, you will definitely need to sign in that. For a password. That happens to every time you try to use any of the resources that are on the remote desktop services. If you want to use its app, it will definitely first ask you to be able to give an authentication password, so that in that case, it is able to verify that it's exactly you. But now, don't be scared about it. That is usually how the system is set up. And so, no need to fear. So any that you click, it will actually give you sort of a warning. So you log in. Now you can log in to the server using the entire desktop system. And all this has happened because you can see that we had absolute access to the main server. You have seen how the remote desktop services can be installed, configured, and how web versions can also be set up. And then you can set it up. that is how you set up the remote desktop services on Windows 2025 server. Otherwise, thank you. We have come to the end of our conversation with this. Thank you so much. Please remember to hit subscription, like and share with your friends. I look forward to having more conversations with you. Please let me know some of the things you've learned. If you've liked it, if there are feedbacks you'd want to make it, please leave a comment. Thank you.